Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. And to get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own questions that can be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a YouTube message. The first question for today comes from Christopher, and it is, what do you think about redoing the reload system so players would be able to choose between speed and tactical reloads? For instance, if you had to fire 17 rounds of a 30-round magazine and performed a speed reload, you'd lose the remaining 13 rounds but have a fresh magazine on your weapon faster than when performing a tactical reload. Tactical reloads would be slower, but you'd transfer unspent ammunition to another magazine, thus having more rounds in the end. What are your thoughts? Now, this is an interesting idea, and what I like about it is that it would give players more options and more ways to react to different combat scenarios, and they can actually think about reloading and have to make a conscious decision. Do I want to have the fast reload speed, or do I want to go through the standard reload time? Most people would go through the quote-unquote tactical reload, where it's basically what we have right now in Battlefield 4, where you take the remaining rounds left in your magazine and pool it with your stash of ammo. I don't really know what it's called, but pool it with all of your other rounds. But if you know that there's an incredible amount of enemies just around the corner and they're about to descend upon you like the wrath of God, and you only have a couple of rounds left in your magazine, if you had the option to go through a speed reload or a faster reload time, granted you would throw away all of the remaining rounds in your magazine, so you can't get that back, and if you continuously go through the fast reload time, you're gonna run out of ammunition very quickly, something like you would have in hardcore mode. But the plus side is that hopefully you'll be able to go through that reload animation so that when they do round the corner, you're ready to go and you can take every single one of them out. The thing about this though, and when we start to run into some resistance, and I know where DICE would have some problems, is that one of the ways that they balance out their weapons is that they will increase the reload time on some of these guns to try to balance out its power. The Bulldog is a very good example. A lot of you haven't played on it right now because it's only available on the CTE servers, but once the Dragon's Teeth DLC launches, you'll know that that weapon is incredibly powerful. It hits very hard, it has a high rounds per minute, but it doesn't really have a lot of rounds in its magazine, so while you may be able to take out just a couple of players extremely quickly, drop them almost immediately, if you round the bend and there's a lot of people in front of you, or there's a continuous wave of enemies back to back, having to go through that lengthy reload time is eventually going to get you killed. Like, someone's going to round the corner, you're going to be left with your pants down, and you're going to have to switch on over to your secondary weapon, leaving you at a disadvantage. And so, while I still think that they can make it work, they would probably have to build it from the ground up, so maybe we could expect this for something like Battlefield 5 or Battlefield Hardline. I don't necessarily see it happening for Battlefield 4, because you really would need to balance it around the idea and make sure that some weapons going through the speedy reload time all of a sudden don't make them blatantly overpowered. But overall, I think that this is a solid idea, not only because it gives players more options on how to approach combat, but it also requires them to think more about situations. If they've been running around for a while, they're running low on their pool of ammunition, they only have 15 rounds left in their main mag, the one that they have in their rifle. If they know that there's a bunch of people around the corner, they have to think about it. Should I go through the fast reload time? I already know my pool of ammo is running low. That eventually could get me killed. Should I go through the lengthy or the tactical reload, just hope that they don't round the corner and take me out? Or should I just wait for them to round the corner with my 15 rounds and hope that I have amazing accuracy and I can take everyone out with the limited ammunition that I have left in my magazine? Just giving players that option, making them think about those situations, makes not only for more skillful gameplay, but I think just more enjoyable gameplay. So in general, I think that this is a really cool suggestion. The next question comes from Willie, and it is, what made Call of Duty so much more popular than Battlefield? Well, we could probably sit here for a couple of hours and discuss this topic, but what I think it really came down to is that when Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare came out, it was a massive success. Not only because it was a hell of a lot of fun, but they also innovated the first-person shooter scene. They brought in new mechanics that other games have never seen before, and it was also relatively user-friendly. Like, this was a shooter where you could jump on in for a couple of minutes, you'd have your weapon, you'd have that tight-knit, fast-paced gameplay, you'd have a leveling system, you would have all of these rewards popping all over the place, instant gratification, and I know that a lot of people will hate on Call of Duty, but what it does very, very well. And since then, they've just iterated on what Call of Duty 4 did. Like, it's the same thing, reskin, upgraded graphics, a little bit. They haven't really upgraded their engine all that much since Call of Duty 4, but they've added a couple new things here and there. It's gotten to the point where it's kill streaks everywhere, but it is a very user-friendly game where everyone can pretty much jump in and have a good time. Now with Battlefield, while I love the Battlefield franchise, it's a little bit more obtuse. It takes a little bit more to understand what the hell is going on, and it's a little bit more complex. You have class dynamic that you have to be introduced into. You have these massive maps where it can be a little hard to understand where the action is, where you need to go, and just in general, it's a more complicated experience. You have vehicles flying up in the sky, you got tanks down on the ground taking you out, and if you just jumped on in and didn't know what to do, or you didn't have any friends explaining how you were supposed to approach these situations, you're definitely going to have a harder time compared to something like Call of Duty. And I think that right there is the essence or the difference between the two games, and simply why Call of Duty has been more successful. It's still, I think, riding on the coattails of previous Call of Duty games. We've already seen a decline in sales recently, like Call of Duty Ghost, I don't think sold as much as Black Ops 2, so it is on the decline. But it's just a game that everyone can jump on into. They have a weapon, they can run around, granted they'll probably die a lot, but they at least know what the hell is going on, while compared to Battlefield, it's just a little bit more complex. The next question comes from Michael, and it is, does it bug you that Counter-Strike has been using the same maps for 15 years? The devs don't seem to have any drive to create new content, but instead continue to reskin old maps. It's lazy, if you ask me. Well, I guess I can see where you're coming from, because on the one hand, you would be right. Like, they did reskin a lot of the previous maps from past Counter-Strike games, and they sold Counter-Strike Go for $15, which was essentially just a visual update for a lot of these maps. Like, if you can play competitively, you're going to be playing on maps that you've been playing on for 10, 15 years. Like, they are really old maps. The thing about it, though, is that if they didn't include these maps, they didn't reskin them, people would be outraged and probably wouldn't even buy Counter-Strike Go, because that's the reason why they play Counter-Strike Go, is for that competitive experience and to play on those specific maps. The thing about it, though, is that there are new maps in Counter-Strike Go. Like, they are in there and people play on them. They're just not nearly as popular because they haven't been balanced and they haven't been tweaked for over a decade. Like, you ask any of my Counter-Strike friends, they will tell you that Dust 2 is probably one of the best maps ever created in a first-person shooter. Like, they adore and love that map. And so, while yeah, I can see where you're coming from, sort of, in the sense that, you know, they are selling Counter-Strike Go for $15, and a lot of it is just past Counter-Strike maps. I guess I can see where you're coming from, but because they have a phenomenal modding community, like, they're always coming out with new mods, new maps, there are already new maps created by Valve, they are in there. I'm having a hard time sympathizing with you, and I think Counter-Strike Go for the $15 is well worth it. Like, over the last couple of weeks, I have spent an incredible amount of time in this game. The next question comes from The Rookie, and it is, are the DLCs for Battlefield 4 worth getting? Which are the better ones to get, or should I just get premium, thus getting all of the map packs? Well, I would have been able to answer this question a little bit better in a couple of days when the Dragon's Teeth DLC launches, so I would wait a little bit until your favorite Battlefield YouTubers start to play on it and give their opinion on the DLC. But as things stand right now, I would say that premium, well, for most is worth it because you get to be able to play on all the expansion packs faster. Right now, I would say the only DLC that you should really be looking into is the Naval Strike expansion pack. Naval Strike, I think that they hit it out of the park. All of the maps are a hell of a lot of fun. They're well balanced. They introduced the new game mode, which was phenomenal. Like, a lot of people were a little worried that it wasn't going to live up to expectation, but I would say that DICE for Naval Strike just hit it out of the park. Like, it is a phenomenal DLC. Second Assault and China Rising are okay. Like, they're decent maps. Like, if you played Battlefield 3 and you want to have some nostalgia and you want to play on Caspian Border or Gulf of Oman, I still don't know why they introduced Gulf of Oman. Terrible, terrible map in my opinion. Firestorm, if you want to play on those maps, I guess it's worth it, but like I said, as things stand right now, at least until the Dragon's Teeth DLC launches, I'm hoping, really crossing my fingers, that Dragon's Teeth is going to be an amazing infantry-focused DLC. But right now, I would say that the only one that's really worth it is Naval Strike. But that's about it for today's Sunday Mailbox, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own questions that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.